Good morning, Team Alabama. We are ready for page 43. Please find it in your Chromebooks now. We are about halfway down the page, second paragraph. In 1942, Commissioner of Baseball Kennesaw M. Landis denied the color barrier. There is no rule, formal or informal, or any understanding, unwritten, subterranean, or sub-anything, against the hiring of Negro players by the teams of organized ball. Landis's denials, however, didn't fool any activists. His anti-integration stand was well known. In November of 1944, Landis died suddenly. 3 months later, New York state legislators passed the Ives-Quinn law forbidding discrimination in hiring on the basis of race, creed, or color. New York City's mayor, Fiorello LaGuardia, seized the opportunity and asked sports writer Sam Lacey, manager Larry McPhail of the New York Yankees, manager Branch Rickey of the Brooklyn Dodgers, and Joseph H. Rainey, a black judge from Philadelphia, to serve on a committee to examine discrimination in the major leagues. Unfortunately, the group never met. McPhail always had an excuse for why he couldn't attend meetings. In April, Boston City Councilor Isidore Muchnick, who had been pressuring his two home teams to integrate, finally succeeded in getting the Red Sox to agree to tryouts for black athletes. Wendell Smith brought Jackie and two other Negro League players, Sam Jethro and Marvin Williams. Their performances were stellar, but the Red Sox didn't even give them the courtesy of a letter of rejection. Jackie was disgusted. He had traveled 1,500 miles for nothing. Smith later learned that the Sox's chief scout had said about Jackie, "What a ball player, too bad he's the wrong color." The same month, A.B. Happy Chandler, a former United States senator and governor of Kentucky, was appointed to replace Landis as baseball commissioner. Black reporters noted that as governor, Chandler had perpetuated segregated education by building separate schools for black children. In an interview, however, Chandler declared, "I don't believe in barring Negroes from baseball just because they are Negroes." Civil rights activists wondered if he had had a change of heart, if he might become an ally in the struggle. On April the 6th, sports writer Joe Bostic, ever persistent for the cause, arrived unannounced at the Dodger training camp at Bear Mountain, New York, with two Negro League players and demanded tryouts for them. Though incensed, Branch Rickey agreed, but he chastised Bostic. "I'm more for your cause than anybody else you know," he said, "but you are making a mistake using force. You are defeating your own aims." Rickey held a press conference shortly after the tryouts where he attacked the Negro Leagues as rackets and declared that he was going to create a new Negro team. Black columnist Ludlow Werner summed up the feelings of most integration advocates. It would be a hot day in December before Rickey would ever have a Negro wear the uniform of organized white baseball. Chapter 11, The Interview. It was a humid August day when Jackie climbed the stairs of 215 Montague Street in Brooklyn. Dodger scout Clyde Sukeforth had seen Jackie play with the Monarchs and told him that Branch Rickey wanted to meet him. Rickey was interested in creating a new colored team, which he would call the Brooklyn Brown Dodgers. Sukeforth said that if Jackie couldn't come to Rickey, Rickey would come to Jackie. Jackie was intrigued and decided to go to Brooklyn to meet Rickey. Branch Rickey was a baseball wonder and innovator. He had created the farm club system where young ball players got training and time to prove themselves worthy of advancing to the majors. In his 25 years with the St. Louis Cardinals, he had developed talent that led the team to 3 pennants and 3 World Series victories. None of that talent was black. Though politically conservative, Rickey was a deeply religious man and believed that segregation was a profound moral injustice. At 23, as coach of the Ohio Wesleyan University baseball team, he had seen firsthand how segregation damaged a person. Once, When he was on the road with his team, a hotel refused lodgings to the team's only black player. Rickey protested to the hotel manager and finally the player. Charles Thomas was allowed to sleep on a cot in Rickey's room. The acute emotional pain and humiliation that Thomas suffered that night still haunted Rickey, yet never before in his entire career had he demonstrated any interest in integrating the major leagues. In spite of his silence all those years, Rickey did believe that talented black athletes deserved the same opportunity as white athletes. Now Rickey was in New York, one of the country's most liberal cities. In the state that had just passed the Ives-Quinn Act forbidding discrimination in hiring, Fiorello LaGuardia, New York City's mayor, wanted 3 New York baseball teams to uphold the law and integrate their teams. It seemed the right time and place to challenge baseball's unwritten color ban. Rickey's moral commitment to integrating the majors was nevertheless entwined with his competitive nature, a sharp business sense, and the thought that if he succeeded, he would secure a place for himself in the history books. Rickey wanted the Dodgers to triumph as his Cardinals had, but the present team was weak and needed new blood. That meant finding talent, of which there was plenty in the Negro Leagues. The right black athlete could help revitalize the Dodgers and help them win the pennant. Integration might temporarily alienate old fans, but it would bring new fans, many of them black, and more money into the Dodger coffers. Rickey also knew that it would bring much trouble for the black athlete he chose to break the color barrier. He sent scouts searching for the best black ball player, keeping his true agenda a secret. Jackie was among the many athletes the scouts saw in action. They confirmed his speed, competitiveness, intelligence, and his uncanny abilities to bunt and to steal bases. His batting average in the 47 games with the Monarchs was .387, with 14 doubles, 4 triples, 5 home runs, and 13 stolen bases. He had an awkward stance at home plate, but coaching could change that. At 26, he was a little old, but the scouts believed that his talent, his natural talent, and determination more than made up for his age. Athletic prowess, however, was not Rickey's only criterion for the right candidate. Equally important was strength of character. From early childhood, Jackie had played with and competed against whites, so it would not be a new experience. His college years had given him the tools to analyze and evaluate challenges. His racial pride had compelled him to defy segregation in the Army, which was proof of his courage. He was smart and tough. Rickey believed he had found the man. The Dodger office was hot, almost as hot as it was outdoors. Branch Rickey was sitting in a leather swivel chair behind a massive mahogany desk. A giant stuffed elk head loomed on the wall behind him, along with photographs of Dodger manager Leo DeRocher, Rickey's grandchildren and daughters, and a portrait of Abraham Lincoln. A lighted fish tank brightened up a side wall, and the goldfish swimming rapidly back and forth seemed to look as uneasy as Jackie felt. Rickey had once played baseball himself, but the years had put bulk on the 64-year-old manager. Even his fingers, holding an unlit cigar, were pudgy. He reached out, shook Jackie's hand, and stared at him from behind wire-rimmed glasses for a long time, and Jackie stared back. Neither man spoke. Finally, Rickey asked, "You got a girl?" Jackie hesitated. Why does he want to know that? It's none of his business. Jackie replied that he was engaged. Rickey then advised him to get married soon because after today he might need a woman at his side. Why? Jackie thought, but he didn't ask. Next, Rickey told Jackie that he wanted him to play for the Dodgers, becoming the first black ball player in the major leagues. Jackie was speechless. The idea both thrilled and scared him. Of course, Rickey explained, Jackie would first have to play for the Montreal Royals, the Dodgers farm club in Canada, to prove that he was capable of competing in the majors. Even that would be a first, as there had never been a black minor league player either. Before Jackie could respond, Rickey barked, I know you're a good ball player. What I don't know is whether you have the guts. It was unbelievable. Rickey questioning his courage. Before Jackie could respond, Rickey took off his jacket and launched into a performance of what life would be like for Jackie if he accepted the offer. Rickey played a hotel clerk, refusing Jackie a room in a hotel where the other players were staying. Then he was a waiter, brusquely refusing to serve Jackie. He transformed himself into a fan screaming obscenities about Jackie, Jackie's parents, Jackie's wife. Rickey pretended to be a ball player on an opposing team, spiking Jackie as he ran the bases. He even swung a fist at Jackie's head. They will do anything to make you lose your temper, Rickey explained. The physical and verbal abuse might be overwhelming. Could you control your temper? Rickey asked. Are you looking for a Negro who is afraid to fight back? Jackie asked. Robinson, Rickey countered. I'm looking for a ball player with guts enough not to fight back. Rickey was asking Jackie to do something that he had never done in his life. From the time he was little, Jackie had never backed down when confronted with racism. He did not believe that a person should be silent in the face of injustice. You had to let people know when something was unacceptable. That's why he had shouted at that little girl on Pepper Street, and why he had challenged the police officer who didn't like the song that he and his friend were singing. That's why he had yelled at the provost marshal in Fort Riley, and why he had refused to back down on the bus in Fort Hood, and why he had punched the gas station attendant. Yet Jackie knew that if black athletes were to ever break into the major leagues, someone had to be willing to do what Rickey was asking. It would change his life and Rachel's life for sure, but it could also change the life of for other black Americans. Yes, he finally answered. That's the end of chapter 11. Okay, have a great day, Team Alabama. Let's add some facts if you haven't already gotten to your 50. There's a whole lot in there that we could add, that Branch Rickey asked Jackie to his office, that Jackie and Branch Rickey talked, that Branch Rickey showed him or acted out ways that people might disrespect him. And you can give some of those specific examples, and I believe those are on page 50. There's a whole bunch of those that you could use as facts. Okay. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure you're adding to your facts.